Hey guys, this is Mr. Breen, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the basics of demand. Okay, let's say that you're going to buy bags of chips, and let's say that the price is let's say it's 50 cents for a bag of chips, and at 50 cents you're going to buy 10. That's a pretty cheap price. You could buy a lot and then stockpile, right? But let's say the price goes up to $1. Well, now you say, well, it's $1 still a good price. I'll buy 8. Okay, and if the price goes up to $1.50, you're gonna say, well, actually, I'm only gonna buy 5. And at $2, you buy 2. At $2.50, that's a dollar sign. Sorry. At $2.50, you buy 1. And once it gets up to $3, let's say, you buy 0. Okay, so we've determined at each price how much it is that you demand of bags of chips. And you might protest to me and say, look, at $3, I still want 10 bags of chips. I'm just not going to buy any. And I will say to you this, that demand is being willing and able to fork over the cash. At $3, you're not willing, presumably, or able, you're probably able, but you're not willing to pay that much for any bags of chips, so you don't demand a single bag of chips. Now the question is, why does that number of bags of chips that you demand decrease when the price increases? And this is really for 2 reasons. The first is called the income effect. The higher the bag of chips is, the more of your income it eats away, and so you're less able to buy so many bags of chips. The second reason is what's called the substitution effect. The substitution effect. As chips become more expensive to you, you instead shift your money, your resources, into purchasing other things that you believe are substitutes for bags of chips. When you add these 2 effects together, you get the law of demand. And the law of demand simply states that the higher the price, the fewer consumers demand. Now, when I refer to demand, I'm not referring to $10 or 10 bags of chips at 50 cents. What I'm referring to is this entire system. Okay, your demand is at 50 cents, 10 bags of chips, and at $1, 8 bags of chips, and at $1.50, 5 bags of chips. That means that demand does not change when the price changes. Okay, when the price changes, quantity demanded, the amount that you demand does change, but your demand is all of this, taking into account your income, your tastes, and all of those things. Okay, so I took the liberty of graphing out your demand, and I want you to notice a few things. First of all, price is the independent variable. In other words, whatever the price was, that's what caused you to demand the quantity that you demanded. And normally in a science course, you would put the independent variable on the x-axis, but for economists, we're annoying and we put the independent variable on the y-axis. The second thing to notice is that we're not graphing something over time. I don't want some of you to be lazy and think that we are. Okay, we're graphing something over price, basically. We're saying, what effect does a change in price have on quantity? And whatever effect it does have on quantity gives us this line. Notice, too, that this line, this demand curve, that's what we're going to call this, we're going to label that D. This demand curve, as the price goes up, quantity goes down. Price goes up, quantity demanded goes down. That, as you'll remember, is the law of demand. When price goes up, the quantity that consumers demand goes down because of the income effect and the substitution effect. Okay, notice too that if the price changes, demand does not change. What I mean by that is that if the price changes, then demand doesn't, if the price goes up, demand doesn't decrease down to here or increase up to here. The line doesn't move. Right? The line is there to show us what happens if the price changes. If the price changes from, say, $1, so we're here or so, to $2, then we move from one point on the line to another point on the line, and as we do that, the quantity demanded decreases, but demand does not decrease. That's important. What that means is demand Demand is not a synonym for the quantity that consumers demand. The quantity that consumers demand. These are not interchangeable terms. Not interchangeable terms. The quantity demanded is one quantity, and it is determined by the price and a number of other factors. But on any given demand curve, it's determined by the price. But a change in price does not change the whole demand curve, which is what I mean when I say, and what you have to mean when you say the word demand. So once again, and to recap, a change in price will not shift the entire demand curve. Okay, it won't shift the demand curve, it won't change demand. What it will do is it will shift you from one point on the curve to another point on the curve.